All right, let's go. Let's go. Good morning. Hey, JC. Blow up the chat so I can see it a little bit better. All right, so looks like you guys have decided you want to watch Caps and Jets tonight. So I guess that's what we'll do. Kyle was shocked that that's what everybody picked, but let you guys pick, right? So I think that game starts at 8. So should be a good game. Hey, Bex, Metal. What did I say? uh, I get it, Metal. Yeah, right. It was a question, no? It was a question. Spaceman says, let the Caps win the President's Trophy. Yeah. I mean, that's all they're fighting for at this point, right? Hey, Jason. That's all they're fighting for at this point. So it is what it is. What do you guys think about that? The Islanders. What do you think about that waved off goal? Did you guys see that? What do we think? You think some of our goalie interference has been ticky tack? What do you think about what happened last night? Help the Jackets out a little bit. I don't know, man. It seemed kind of weak to me. Immediately waved off on the ice, too. Seemed pretty weak to me. Meadow says, "What I say, the Caps look better than the 21-22 Panthers." Probably more well-rounded. That team gave up a lot of goals. We won a lot of games 6-4 and 7-3. Caps probably better overall. NHL says, hey, Jaws, I was there last night. It was maybe the worst call I've ever seen. Metal says, brutal call. Yeah, it's kind of weak. What's my prediction on where Ovechkin breaks Gretzky record? I think it's going to be first couple of games of next season. I don't think he's going to get it. So NHL, you say Merzlikins initiated the contact and it cost us the game. Now, unfortunately, in the rule book, don't shoot the messenger here. However, in the rule book, if the goalie initiates the contact with the player that's in the crease and a goal is scored, it's disallowed. Problem is that he wasn't in the crease. You can see his skates were outside the crease. His body might have been leaning into the crease, but his skates were not. So tough all the way around. Yeah, I saw that, Metal. 8 years at $9 million. Jeez. I saw that. Yeah, there goes that idea. $9 million for Chikrin. Holy moly. Bowler says, so how dangerous will the Senators be if they take the same approach the Panthers and Vegas did, which is absolutely destroy your opponents physically and then finesse them with great goal scoring? If they can do it. If Olmark too, right? No, Bex, the goals in the playoffs don't count, as far as I know. Hey, Rosado, Magna into the quarterfinals and will play as soon as 2 p.m. today. Fantastic. Anthony says, I'm surprised the NHL doesn't have any rules against flopping to prevent these goalies from getting the referees to give them goalie interference calls when they don't deserve it. I think it's turning into like the quarterbacks in the NFL. They want to give the goalies every opportunity and every benefit of the doubt. Kazuma says, have I thought about doing recaps for the other games to help bring fans of those teams to the channel? So I have thought about it, and I have done it at times. And the two things that consistently happen when I do that is less views and no new subscribers. Now, in the playoffs, that's a little bit different. But during the regular season, when I've done recaps of the other games, you would think logic would think that that's what would happen. But unfortunately, the way the YouTube algorithm works is they just show those videos to the same people that watch my videos. Like no matter what I put out, YouTube is not attempting to expand the reach of the channel. They send it to the same people, the same number of people, doesn't matter what the video is. So that's been part of the frustration, has been no matter what kind of content I put out, YouTube is not like, there's no videos that they start to show to different people. Still no Carter goal. Yeah. NHL says exactly the thing that I look at is the fact that he was pushing Palmieri instead of tending the goal. And if he let up a goal that big and felt interfered with, he'd react differently than he did. Yeah, no disagreement, man. Oh, she beat the number 3 seed was out. Yeah, I'm definitely not commenting. I'm definitely not contacting her now. I don't want to jinx it. Dawes doesn't want to compete with the hockey guy. There's no competition. There's no it's just algorithmic. You know, this channel has such a consistent history that's all YouTube is going to do with it. They won't, it doesn't matter what kind of content I put out, unless I start putting out shorts, that might change the algorithm a little bit. But it's very typical of a channel my size, and the length of time I've been doing it. YouTube just considers that's the audience, and they don't really care to try to grow it. I'm scrolling all the way down here. If I wore a Bruins hat, I'd have more clout. Yeah, Kenneth. No doubt. No doubt. Hey, thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that, bud. Oh, we're way behind in terms of the President's Trophy. We're way behind. We're almost eliminated from that, I think. What are we, like 13 points behind, I think? Well, where it says, also notice, depending on where the channel is on your subs, whether it changes the watches, the videos you get recommended, then yeah. Yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. Connor, he's saying that he has a feeling the Western Conference team wins Stanley Cup final this year. I mean, stay tuned. It's hard to disagree about the Panthers right now with the way we've looked with all the injuries. But if everything goes right, and I know that's a lot of ifs, but if everything goes right, we still could repeat. Meadow says maybe each week I could do an NHL weekly recap. I mean, I could try it. My problem right now, Metal, is everything I do immediately has to turn into income. That's really my issue. I don't have any more time like I did with the skits. The time I'm not making videos on this channel, I'm on eBay, or I'm doing some other things to try to get money coming in. Because I don't want to bitch about it. Yeah, Magda was a small underdog, and then she won. So I'll contact her after she wins. Nothing we've heard yet, NHL. No update on Marchand and Kachuk yet. Yeah, we don't want the President's Trophy. I agree. Vince is just counting ifs, not buts. Yeah, what else are you going to do? We got the cup. We can afford to count ifs, right? If we had lost Game 7 to Edmonton last year, I think it'd be a different story. Anthony says 13 points doesn't seem that much. I understand if it was 20 or 30 points behind, but we're done 13 points doesn't seem like a lot. Well, it is only 11 games, though, right? So there's 22 possible points. If we're 13 points out, we would basically have to win all our games, and both Washington and Winnipeg would basically have to go below 500 the rest of the way. Seriously below 500. When is the tennis stream, Rosado? I wonder what that would do to the algorithm. That would be funny. Well, says the final 12 games are always the most fun. You either fizzle out and get destroyed, or you stay hot and win some series. You stay in the middle and maybe win it all while being overlooked. Yeah, watch out for St. Louis. If they get in, which I think they might, teams that get hot right there at the end, get that 8 seed, 7 seed, Montreal. Anthony, let me see. Because regulation wins means it is the tiebreaker. I mean, I think we're 89 points. Washington's 102. So we're 13 points out. Washington has a game in hand, and they have 4 more regulation wins than us. So basically, we would have to win out. And even at that point, the Capitals would basically have to just tank. It ain't happening. Not that we want it anyway. But we would have to win out and get like 9, 10, 11 regulation wins. And then Washington would only be able to be like 4 and yeah, there goes. Yeah, Kenneth. If Washington goes 4, 7, and 1, the Panthers are eliminated from the President's Trophy. Thank you for doing the math, Kenneth. I appreciate that. Yeah. And that's if we win every game. So Vincent says if hot beats cocky, the Chucky Chuck is getting lucky. I can't even does somebody want to explain what does somebody want to explain what Vincent is saying? It sounds like a bad rap song. Pop a beat to it, you know. Is that a Kako reference? I'm not sure. Yeah, Craig says drugs are bad. Vincent is, no, I'm not sure what. You know, that's the kind of stupid shit, though, that you could put on a t-shirt and people would buy it just for the conversation. Just for the conversation starter. If hot beats cocky, the Chucky Chuck is getting lucky. Wow. Is this a weak playoff year for the East? Caps could just be regular season heroes. There's a lot of good teams in the West. There's no doubt. I mean, geez. Winnipeg. I mean, don't forget Dallas, right? The Avalanche don't exactly suck. The Knights just won a couple of years ago. The Oilers almost won last year. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams right there that you can make a legitimate argument for in the West. In the East, 3, maybe 4. If you wanted to stretch it, you could make an argument for the Capitals and Panthers, and then the Lightning and the Leafs, maybe. I'm just saying that out of respect for all the Leaf fans in the chat. I think that might be a stretch. But certainly nobody is counting on Ottawa, Montreal, the Hurricanes, the Devils. I know the Hurricanes have been good, but let's be honest. Hurricanes are going to find a way to lose. Right? Hey, Simon. You mean how I think you think how I think the Panthers are going to do? Depends on how many guys we get back. We need Kulikov back. We need Kulikov back for sure. Vincent says I can have it if I want it. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. I'm going to take a screenshot and I'm going to post that to Twitter. And I'll see if anybody has an explanation for this. Nope. Hold on a second. Connor says the Kane slander is hilarious. I mean, it's kind of like the Dolphins. You know the Dolphins are going to find a way to screw it up. They just won't make the playoffs, right? But why did I show that? I didn't mean to do that. IDK says Panthers first or second round exit. I don't know about the first, but I mean, second round, would we really be embarrassed, right? Like if you go to the cup and then you win the cup and then you're out in the second round, I mean, it's not exactly embarrassing, right? At some point, we're going to not win the whole thing, right? At some point. Rosado, now, come on, man. Al says the strong teams in the West have tended to randomly give up in the playoffs recently, though. Last year was sad for them. Bulwer says if the Canes get bounced again, there's going to be fire. Then there's the coach. You can't have that roster and crap your pants every week and chance you get. No disagreement, Bulvar. Just if you look at the matchups, though, in the West, like, the Kings and Oilers are going to play together, right? That means one of those teams that could legitimately win is out in the first round. The Stars and Avalanche are going to play. One of those teams that could legitimately win is going to be out in the first round. A lot of times it's just who you play in that first round. What do we got? We got Blues. We got Wild and Blues, right? That's how it looks like it's going to shape up. Calgary's lost 3 in a row. They've just totally tanked. So, I mean, Vegas and the Jets kind of get off the hook a little bit there in the first round, while Stars and Avalanche and Kings and Oilers, they're going to be in a blood battle first round. Simon, that's funny because I'm seeing your question about the Western Conference, and I just answered the question before I saw it. Yeah, Bulvar says that's the same reason I thank the Bruins for Bruce Cassidy and probably why the Blues thank them for Jim Montgomery. Good point. Dang, that's right. Both of those guys. Jason says, just remember, we are the defending Stanley Cup champs when it comes to the playoffs. We are going to be a different animal in entirety. I have to agree. Vincent says, so if you haven't seen the Hockey Guys videos on points percentage post January 1st, that through the years. No, I saw one. I saw the one he did points percentage, I think after the break, but I don't think I saw that one. You think he posted it yesterday? Okay, I didn't see it. Blues upset Jets in the first round. Wouldn't that be something? Anthony's got a decent point. He says, Jaws, by the time the Western Conference teams get to the Stanley Cup, they're going to be worn down because every series in the West is going to go 7 games, in your opinion. It's a lot of good teams out in the West, but you only have to play one of them, and that's the thing, right? There's a lot of good teams in the West. You only have to play one of them if you're from the East. It's not like you got to go beat Winnipeg and Colorado and Vegas. God dang, imagine that. Holy crap. Who wants that on their playoff schedule? If somebody beat those 3 teams, just give them the cup, right? Hi, Dog says, imagine we get a Blues. Dang it. Imagine we get a Blues Panthers final and then beat Jim Montgomery again He might grow more hair just to tear it out again. Poor dude. Yeah, Bulbar says Edmonton is a dead man walking in the West. Everyone, including the other Canadian teams, want them gone and will probably smirk at some questionable hits to do so. Interesting. That's correct about the Blues, Owls, for sure. In terms of the teams that are going to not make it, like, the Rangers, I don't know what the Rangers are going to do, man. Blue Jackets, I don't think they're going to get rid of anybody. You never know what Pittsburgh's going to do. Tortorella, apparently in Philadelphia, has like they're not expecting to win anytime soon. Now, I wonder about Lindy Ruff in Buffalo. How long can they be terrible, right? Canadians coaches are safe. Andrew Burnett in Nashville, how he still has a job, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know the Ducks, Kraken, Sharks. I don't know what anybody would have expected out of them. Flames and Canucks, you could see some changes. I doubt the Oilers would make any changes. Yeah, Shafasi, we talked about that at the beginning of the game. Yeah. Brutal call. Anthony says, has it always been like this where the West has been the deeper conference in terms of having more consistent, better teams throughout the conference? It seems the East is always top heavy. It's been that way a lot recently, but like if you go back to the 90s, Pittsburgh, Boston, Flyers, Devils, the East was stacked. The East was stacked for a long time. I think it goes in all sports like football and hockey. The balance of power shifts a little bit. The conferences, they're creating teams to beat the other teams in the conference, right? Like Florida created a team to beat Boston and Tampa and those teams. Or Colorado created a team to be able to beat Dallas and Winnipeg. But you end up with a separation of the styles, and it's a different game over there in the West. So a lot of times it looks a certain way when, as an Eastern Conference fan, it looks a certain way when you're watching the Western Conference games. You're like, wow, this is different. But then when you meet in the finals, it's all out the window. Yeah, it kind of says for many years in the West, it was just Detroit and Colorado, and that's it. Yeah, good point. Yeah, the Devils have the injuries again, right? Yeah, the Bruins, they just they had that little blip right after the trade deadline, and then they just jumped off a cliff. iDog says, how long do I think the Devils keep Sheldon Keefe? He has a similar playoff luck than he did with the Leafs. Yeah, they have so many injuries. Oh, my God, that team. That's 2 years in a row. But you still got to wonder, right? You still got to wonder. It's not like he has won cups before. I was reading what Simon. Yeah, Simon. Yeah, top shelf. I thought you said hot take. Yeah, top shelf hockey. Yeah, the Devils are falling apart. Exactly. So you're saying Rangers could take third in the Metro, or the Devils playing that poorly? Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I know the Devils are losing games, but they're still 7 points out. I got a game in hand. Do the Rangers and Devils play? Are there any 4-point swings? Once. Rangers and Devils play once. The Rangers' schedule is not exactly, well, it's mid. They've got an opportunity to win some games, and then there's some tough games. But the Devils would absolutely have to just completely collapse. They would just have to collapse. Hey, Alechka. I hope you're right. Alechka. Anthony says, it seems like the East is more the place, the style of both sides of the ice, and the West has a few things that play like that, but the majority of them are offensive. Yeah, and if you look at the goals scored, Panther, let's see, the top teams in the East, Capitals 257, Lightning 245, Panthers 229. If you go to the West, it's actually less. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams over 230. While in the East, you've got 2. So the higher scoring teams are in the East, but there's more teams with more goals in the West. Yeah, what happened to the Canucks, man? Alechka says, I'm just salivating at the thought of the Rat line. You know he's going to put him with Lundell and Luosterainen, right? That's what's going to happen. He's the only way that you're going to see that Barkov, Marchand, Kachuk line is if Verhaeghe gets moved down to the third line and Samoskevich goes to the first. That's just my biased opinion. And I think we're better for it. You spread those two guys out. The Kings also, Anthony. The Kings play a pretty physical defensive game. They just haven't been able to put it together. But they do play a pretty physical game. iDog says, I'm not sad about the Rangers. I don't want to deal with Igor again in the playoffs for a little while. Yeah. Shavasi, I do feel like Marchand is going to play a few games. They did say that. They said he was 3 to 4 weeks away. How many weeks? When was the trade deadline? March 7th? Something like that? So what's it been? It's been 3 weeks-ish? It's been 3 weeks since the injury. We know that. Yes, Shafasi. Samoskevich is eventually going to take that spot. Eventually. The kid is just, I mean, what I'm interested to see is if we go on a long run, how Samoskevich looks next year. Because while we're loving his play and his energy right now, I wonder how much of that is because he's just got so much more legs than the rest of the team. Next year is going to be a big year for him. If he can have a season of training and put on a little bit of weight. Because right now it's obvious he's the guy with the legs on the team. You can tell. Like everybody else is like huffing air and he's just like back and forth and back and forth. Who's my least favorite Panther on the roster right now? That's a good question. I mean, if you really wanted me to say on the roster at the moment, it would have to be Bornfoot. I mean, but if you want to go by the regular guys that would regularly play, Boqvist, Jesper Boqvist. He hasn't been with us for a run, right? And he's got 1 goal in like 20 games or something. So, like, I think the shine kind of wore off a little bit there. I appreciate the effort and all of that, but you asked the question. Shafashi says Schmidt. Nah, he's bald. He's okay. He's a good dude. Schmidt's a good dude. Nothing against any of them, but you know. Shafashi says Lundell was fine the second year after our cup run, but he was a rookie in the President's Trophy season. Strafasi, so he was a rookie in the President's Trophy season with 18 goals. The first cup run, he was in his second year, right? So. But he was fine. Different game though. But I get what you're saying. I'm just curious to see how much difference, like the disparity between Samoskiewicz's energy and the rest of the team is obvious. So I'm curious to see how that plays out going into next year. You're currently at the Hoover Dam, Rosado. Damn. Yeah, and Vincent's correct. It's not just legs. It's a mental thing, concentration, sharpness, hunger. The hunger is there for sure. If I could create a dream top six with a mixture of good Panthers players and Hall of Famers, who would they be? Well, let's put Jágr in there since he's both. We're putting Jágr there, right? Barkov, Tkachuk, Jágr. And then you put, well, that would be the top line. Remember when it was Barkov, Huberdeau, and Jágr? Imagine Barkov, Tkachuk, Jágr. Bure, thank you, Craig. Yeah, Bure. Yeah, good point. Serfashi, I don't know. He's asking why Maurice is not alternating Nosek and Gadjevich. I totally assumed that that's what was going to happen. Yeah, Bure. Yeah. Vince says it also has to do with personal character. McKinnon and Kucherov are insane every year. Panthers have only Bob, who's crazy. Sano has hunger. Agreed. So, yeah, Barkov, you're making the top six. Barkov, Jágr, Tkachuk, Bure. I mean, if you're still picking, are there any other ex-Panthers that are wingers that are in the Hall of Fame? How good was Joe Thornton when in his prime? If we're talking prime guys, how about prime Thornton? Who's the other guy? Huberdeau? Essa taking in for an edgy guy. That's a name. Are there any other? What was Joe Thornton's numbers when he was young? I mean, he played for like 40 years, right? So would you have Thornton at 2C? Let's see. Yeah, I think you put Thornton at 2C. Yeah, God, he's played for so many years. His numbers look eerily similar to Barkov's, except his face-off percentage wasn't nearly as good. He got close to 60% a couple of times. Yeah. Anthony Barkov, Solani, Jágr, Tkachuk, Roenick, and Mark Messier. Interesting. All right, so you didn't do all ex-Panthers, which I guess that was the question. Yeah. Yeah, Marchand will get in for sure. Yeah. If you wanted to just stick with Panthers, ex-Panthers that were also Hall of Famers, Barkov, Yager, Kachuk, Thornton, Bure, and suffice to say, Jokinen. Sure, why not? There'd be a lot of competition for that last winger spot, right? Some would want Jokinen, some would want Huberdeau. Do we have anybody else that like played 2 minutes with the team, but was almost Hall of Fame worthy? iDog says Marchand's the one I'm least worried about coming back. He's at least skating with the team, right? Never saw Victor or Slava in their prime. How good were they? Especially Victor. Yeah. We had good players at times. We just could never put it all together. It was just a shame we had Bure and what we do? Make the playoffs once with him, I think. Was it twice or once? I know once. I think that was it. Boulevard says, can Vegas retire Marshy's number now? So I have an excuse to see my team live for the first time. Yeah, eventually, right? We had Bure and Melody and Beezer. Yeah. No, it's okay, David. Yeah, by the time we got Bure, he had the knee injury. He still almost got 60 goals, but he wasn't quite the same guy. They brought him in to sell tickets, and it worked-ish, right? But one guy is not a team. And then, we ended up, Beezer retiring and everything like that. It's an interesting subject. Today's members podcast fits perfectly with this subject. Bowler says, I don't know why I just have a feeling the Sharks are going to throw the book at Ekblad like they did with Carlson. There you go. I mean, if Chychrun is worth $9 million, that's a lot of cheddar. That's a lot of money when you start thinking about money that Ekblad might get. Igor Laranov. Yeah, that's a good name. Who's faster, McDavid or Bure? By the time Bure was with us, oh man, that's such a... McDavid's pretty fast. Bure was insanely fast for his time. But guys are so much faster now. That's a good question. Do they keep times on these guys? Yeah, Igor only played 23 games with the Panthers. David says Bure was faster before the injuries, but Mikkel for better hands. Yeah. How many games? Yeah, that's a good name. That is a good name, Laranov. Yeah, 2000 and 2001, 26 games, 5 goals, 6 assists. And then that's right. And then he went back to Detroit. I remember that. He went back to Detroit. Yeah. How dumb was that? He didn't do any damage in Detroit. Well, I mean, he played okay. But yeah, I remember that. He went back to Detroit after we had him. Adonis says, "Uh-oh, Chikrin signing that deal means Ekblad 8 by 11." It was a good day for Ekblad seeing that money out there, and not just that, but with Chikrin off the market, right? With Chikrin off the market, that makes Ekblad more valuable. Well, we won the cup. We won the cup. David says, I have a question. As I get the Four Nations messed up the schedule, but how do we close with so many back-to-back games? Four Nations. It's crazy. It was already going to be shortened, condensed because the Four Nations was a longer break. But then when you see the days off that they gave us this month, so in some regards, the back-to-backs are a pain in the ass, but we had 3 days off last week. We got 4 days off this week. And our last game is on the 15th. And when do the NHL playoffs start? What's the day? The 20th. The first date is April 20th. So at the end of the season, we're going to have a full-on 5 days off, basically 4 or 5 days off. We'll see, Simon. He's asking if I'm going fishing, if it's warm enough. It's still cold. It's still a little bit cold right now. It's supposed to warm up on the weekend, but we have a hockey game Sunday at 1 o'clock. So I don't think it's going to be warm enough Saturday. I might be able to get out there Monday. David says back-to-backs add to injury chances. Agreed. Totally agreed. Luke Robitaille played preseason games for the Panthers. What was that, at the very end, and then he didn't make the team? God, I had forgotten about that. Good name. Was that at the very end? It wouldn't be in his stats. When did he? Let me see this. Did he have a, what do they call that? A tryout? Oh, man, where'd you find that? Or did you just remember it? Let's see. Google is telling me he never did, but I trust you more than Google. You missed Gudis, David? Yeah, we missed a lot of things right now. 2002, 2003 preseason. So let me see. His last year was 5-6. Interesting. Yeah, that was so long ago. It's weird because he still was good in that year. 11 goals, 20 assists. The following year, he had 22 goals, 29 assists with the Kings. He was healthy, 82, 81, 80 games. Interesting. I wonder why. I don't remember. He was just released. That's crazy. It looks like we could have used him. Kachukin says rebuilding Ekblad with more of a rotating D depth as possible. I don't disagree. The depth needs some work. Not overly comfortable going into next year with Balinskis and Bornfoot as the guys. McJesus. Yeah. Not yet. He's got to win though, right? He's got to win something.
Vote for Blues Canadians.
It's over, Kyle. Kyle is telling you all to vote for Blues Canadians. Because
It's going to be a hell of a game.
that's the one I wanted to do, but everybody else picked.
You know neither the Jets or Capitals are making it past the second round.
You come here and say that. Not only Kyle is Caps Jets beating all the other teams combined, but Blues Canadians is in third place with only 17 votes, 17%. And we're up to 82 votes. So I mean it's not close. It's not close. Sorry. Hey Andrew. Vincent says I voted for Blues. Yeah, Blues lost that game. If the Oilers bounce out early, is McJesus considering not extending? I mean, at some point they're going to have to do something. They paid Draisaitl 14. You hear rumors that McDavid might get 20. I mean, that's absurd. You can't build around a team around a guy if he's making $20 million. You think it's going to be Panthers Oilers again? Now that would really shock me. That would be, I wouldn't put money on that. That would really be surprised. Yeah, he's the enemy, David. Exactly. Yeah, we tried to draft Ovechkin, Connor. It didn't work. Unfortunately, they tried to tell the league that he was old enough because of leap year. Where would McDavid go? Who's got that kind of money? Somebody would have to clear out some guys, right? Hutchin says Vegas. Yeah, Ovi's going to almost do it. Exactly. It's going to happen next season. Utah, that's a good name. Huh. Rangers, oh my God. Well, he would want to win, right? If he's going to leave, he would leave to go to a team that he would want to win with. So at that point, what you do is you trade Verhaeghe. You tell Bob to sign him for 3 more years at $5 million. And then you tell McDavid, we'll give him 15, but he can hang around and win some cups in Florida. Huh? Huh? Would he take 15 to come to Florida? What do you think about that? David says no. You know, if you cut Bob's salary in half and you get rid of Verhaeghe, we got the money. We got 15. We got no, never, yes. No, then we're just Toronto South. Well, why would you go from Edmonton to Toronto thinking that now you're going to win a cup? Right? Because you can't have, I mean, Toronto would have to get rid of Marner. David says, we don't need him. He's great, but not gritty. We are a gritty team. He's gotten really good on defense, though. I'm just saying. Like, if you could do it, don't tell Bill Zito he can't do it. Because Zito you know what I mean? Zito's gangster. He'd do it. Trying to think of who else, you know. All right, so you'd have to move on. You'd have to move on from Verhaeghe, Rodriguez, and give Bob half his money. You put Sordiff in Rodriguez's spot, and then you get McDavid, and now you could pay him 18. just totally blow up the whole salary structure of the rest of the team. All the other guys get pissed off and quit because now McDavid's making $10 million more than Reinhardt. Good point, Kachucking around. Preds proved our case against salary cap leaving for taxes. Yeah, he's gangsta. He's gangsta, Vincent. We're actually going to the gym as soon as I'm done here, Simon. As soon as I'm done here in a few minutes, I'm gonna drag my tired ass to the gym, drop him off. I'll go. I didn't sleep real well last night at all. I passed out early at 7:30 and I woke up at 9, and I passed out and I woke up at 10, and then I was up at 1 and 3 again. It was a horrible night's sleep. David says I'd much rather get McCarr or Hughes if we're dreaming anyway. That's a good point. It's a good question, Connor, about Kucherov making 9.5. His contract expires to be 34. What? You can't pay him 9.5, but it's so hard to tell now because with the salary cap going up, some of these guys still might want to get paid. I mean, look at what happened with Marchand, right? Yeah, McCarr, he didn't show me a whole lot in the Four Nations, but that's a different situation. Yeah, the Panthers not playing well. Message your sleep schedule too. It was just weird. I normally don't pass out that early, but I did. McKinnon will be moving anywhere. I think he'll go to the Blues. What if he went to Dallas to go be with what's his name again? Rantanen. Right? We'll be okay though. I don't think McDavid's going to be leaving them anyway. I just can't imagine what that contract's going to be. Off the top of my head, how many McCarr goals? No. I don't. I do not know. That's a good point, Kachuk says. Got to remember we're getting new teams at some point during the next round of the contracts. Yeah, eventually we're going to end up with 40 teams, right? We're going to end up with 40 teams. Connor, McCarr was a damn demon in 22 playoffs and Kadri, yeah. Yeah, you would have probably won those finals. Yeah, no, McCarr is a smooth-ass skater. We can't afford him, though. That's the name. Andrew's got the name. Brady will leave Ottawa. That's the name. For Hagee, I mean, just for Hagee, for Brady, straight up. It's not an even trade, but we don't have any ones to give out. But he may not, though, Andrew. He may want to stay and continue to build and try to win there. This is the first year it looks like that they're going to make the playoffs in some time. So, they may feel like, he may feel like they're building something he might not want to ditch. Yeah, I know, Simon. It's a joke. It could happen, though. Anything can happen. We all learn that, right? We all learn with the Huberto, Uyghur, Kachuk thing that anything can happen. Anything. Especially and we've got the GM. We've got the GM to make that stuff happen, right? Kachuk says Swaggy would really have to be convinced on that trade. We'd have to send someone else with him. That's right. We gave him a no-move clause. I forgot about that. Yeah. Honey, baby. So the Panthers want to trade me to Ottawa. You don't want to still live here in Florida, do you? Yeah. Yeah. We signed Rahagi. He better start scoring. Right? All right, David. All right, guys. I'm rolling. I got to go. I got to get Kyle out the door to get to the gym because I got appointments later. We will see you tonight at 8 o'clock. Apparently, that's the game y'all have picked. Caps versus Jets. Just be prepared. Kyle wanted the other game, so he's going to bitch and complain at least the first period. So we'll have to give Kyle alcohol tonight. I can definitely sense it's going to be a drunk Kyle night. So, all right, everybody. No, Shavasi. No, that can't happen. That can't happen. That can't happen. All right. Appreciate all the support. I'll see you all tonight.